It's time for Comeback Sports with Brandon, the Coach Perry, and Pat, the Shot Caller Flaherty. Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Comeback Sports, a weekly sports show that is, I personally think, the most interactive sports show on the net at the moment, where you can call in, you can tweet at us, you can leave a voicemail. I mean, heck, you can always reach out to me and Pat personally through Twitter if you follow us, all right? But unfortunately tonight, we're missing out with the shot caller, Pat Flaherty, because he is at the ALCS game at Fenway Park. But I'll tell you what, I think I wish Pat was here, and I think Pat wishes he was here, because right now that game is 7-1 Astros over the Red Sox right now. So unfortunate news, but we're here in studio ready to jam out with 10 topics here on Comeback Sports. So let's dive right into it with producer Ben Kudo in the background, making all the magic happen. But let's dive into topic number one tonight, and that's Vols garbage, Tennessee Vols garbage. But before I do jump into that, hey, if you're new to this show here, give us a subscribe, give us a like, give me a follow here on Twitter. My Twitter account's here at the bottom of the screen, or you can give a call into the show. The bottom of the screen is also the number where you can call in live. Or if you're, maybe a little shy to call in live, give us a little shout out after the show. Leave a voicemail with any topic you want or any comment, and we will put it live on the show in the following week. But let's jump right into our topics tonight, and that's, like I said, Tennessee Vols garbage, and that is the Tennessee fans throwing garbage at the Ole Miss players and coaches during the game the other night. I don't know, real tough call here, where it's one of those things where it really makes your university and your program look like what you were throwing on the field. And that's trash, honestly. I can't remember the last time that the University of Tennessee even had a great team. I'd have to go back arguably until the end of the 90s with Peyton Manning. And we've even talked about on this show how most recently one of their best players, Alvin Kamara, kind of went untouched in their program and unused. So it just really shows you the state of Tennessee Volunteer football right now, with obviously not having a good team for years. Maybe we could even say decades at this point. And then now they play a top 25 team on national TV, and it's a close game too. So, got to give credit where credit is due. The football team was actually hanging around and playing good, but the fans got mad when they thought in their eyes that an Ole Miss player faked an injury to basically stop one of their drives. And they kind of bugged out and just started throwing trash on the field. On top of that, they were throwing golf balls at Coach Lane Kiffen. And so I don't know. I guess that's really honestly where I draw the line. I completely understand fans getting upset and yelling whatever they want. And in my eyes, I guess they do have a point to a certain extent. And I think at this point, they've crossed the line a little bit, especially with the golf balls. If that golf ball had connected in his head or anywhere on his body, it definitely would have hurt. And rumor has it that they were throwing multiple golf balls at him. And even in the post game, Coach Lane Kiffen popped up the golf balls saying, that, hey, these fans throwing more than just trash on the field. And so I think that's a golf ball that Lane Kiffen's going to keep for a while, and look to every time they play Tennessee, absolutely just hammer them and maybe bust out that golf ball for memories or for even some bulletin board material for his team. Because I know as a coach, I would certainly be using this all as bulletin board material going forward, so that every time we play the Tennessee Volunteers, we would absolutely hammer them. But like I said, right now, I think this is a clear reflection of the state of the program of the Tennessee Volunteers. Complete trash right now. And the fans looking like a bunch of idiots throwing trash on the field at players and coaches, and especially those golf balls. But let's moving on to topic number 2 tonight. So, hey, it's a one-man band here tonight, a one-man show, and it's Coach Perry. It's the coach's special going on right now. So like I said, hey, give us a follow here. Give us a like. The shot caller, Pat Flaherty, is at the Red Sox game tonight. A disappointing Red Sox game that we will probably be covering next week. And here's some first take views from the shot caller, Pat Flaherty. And we're going to mention him later in the show as well. We're in a couple of these topics. We're missing out on you there, Pat Flaherty. We'll catch you next week. But let's start off with topic number 2 tonight, and that's oh no for Coach O. And that's the news this week that LSU just announced that they will be separating ways with Coach Ed Orgeron in the offseason, and they will be looking for a new coach to lead their program in 2022. So I think this is big news for college football, big news for LSU, and obviously big news for Coach O. I mean, just 2 years ago, 2 years removed from winning the national championship, and now people are basically escorting you out the door. And I think this is one of those things that it shows, obviously, in college football and in professional sports especially, that it's like, what have you done for me lately? And that you have to keep winning. And obviously, LSU is having a really tough season right now, one that is underperforming, I'm sure, to everybody that's an LSU fan or connected to the program. But I'm not sure this is the right move, moving on from Coach Ed Orgeron, like I said, just 2 years after a national championship run that he made with Joe Burrow. And then if you look at the amount of draft picks that they've had over these last few years, number 1 draft picks just through the roof. And the 3 that come to mind, obviously, are Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and Justin Jefferson. And so those are direct products of Coach Ed Orgeron's program at LSU and the winning ways that they were having there for multiple years. So I don't know, man. There might be more to this story here, and there has been some rumors that, Coach Ed was bringing some girlfriends to practice, and even at points letting some girlfriends, like children, participate in some drills with some players. And I haven't seen that confirmed at this point. But it does bring up where there's smoke, there is fire. And I really do think there's got to be more than this story than just LSU having one rough season and then they want to separate ways with their coach. So I think this is a story that will, more will emerge over the weeks and over the next few weeks of why LSU and Coach Ed Orgeron are looking to separate ways here after this 2021 season. But we'll see how LSU finishes the season. Now that this news has been announced, will they kind of tank it and kind of throw in the towel, or will they try to, step up for their coach and finish strong? So it's definitely something that we will be covering here on Comeback Sports going forward. But hey, we're moving fast like a freight train tonight and moving on to topic number 3. So topic number 3 is the UNLV slot machine payday for UNLV football. And I'm telling you, I love when programs get something exciting during the game. We've talked about how sports is an entertainment first off, right? And so we've got to be entertaining. And I think when a program is entertaining, like UNLV has been doing right now with their sideline swag, as we're calling it, with a slot machine. They've got this huge slot machine right on the sideline where when players make a big play on the field, they get to come off the field and take a pull on that slot machine and see what comes up. And I'm telling you, we've got the interception chain there for Miami. There's the axe in Minnesota. There's so many things that in Minnesota they got the row the boat too, so they've got the paddle now. There's so many things that are in college football with these players now getting excited after big plays. And I have to say that I think this is the best one, honestly. I mean, who doesn't like Vegas? First off, UNLV, University of Northern Las Vegas football team. I mean, like I said, Vegas. It's Vegas, baby. What do you think of Vegas? What do you think of first off? You think of the casinos? You think of slot machines? So I think this is genius idea, genius move by the UNLV team, especially for recruiting. Hey, if you're a big-time recruit, hey, come on over, take a pull on our slot machine after you make a big play. So like I said, I personally think this is one of the best sideline swags in college football at the moment, and I'm shocked that it's just getting to light right now. I think this is something that should have been all over, ESPN, Sports Center, Twitter, Facebook, whatever you want to call it. But I've only seen it for the first time this past week. So UNLV, you got to do a better job of marketing your program, and especially this slot machine with guys making big plays. But I'll tell you what, I absolutely love it. Like I said, my vote for number one swag right now in college football is the UNLV slot machine, man. But hey, moving on to topic number 4 tonight. And like I said, hey, we are moving on like a freight train tonight. You are only getting Coach Perry's takes tonight. This is the coach's special. The shot caller, Pat Flaherty, is out on assignment at the Red Sox game, but he will be back next week and giving us some hot takes, obviously. But hey, is that the Red Sox game live? Is that Pat? Some of Pat's video there, producer Ben? Oh, beautiful. So this is some live footage from the shot caller, Pat Flaherty, our other co-host at the Red Sox game, showing you a little shot of the outfield here in the bleachers. And like I said, not a game that I know I wouldn't want to be at the moment because the Red Sox are getting hammered. And I know Pat said he was going to refuse to tweet anymore at this point because it was just such a rough game, and I don't blame him at all. But, man, definitely some great fan cam footage there from the shot caller, Pat Flaherty, at the Red Sox ALCS championship game with the Houston Astros. So, hey, if you're new to this show, give us a subscribe, give us a like here. Comeback Sports, the most interactive sports show on the web right now, the interweb, let's call it. So, hey, give us a follow here, give us a like, give us a comment, let us know what you think, and give us your opinion on any of these topics. But let's move on tonight. Like I said, the freight train rolls on, the Lane train. We talked about him in topic number 1, but we're going to talk about the Finns right now. And we're not, well, actually, yeah, the Dolphins versus Jacksonville. And that was the NFL London game that was just this past weekend. And that's topic number 4. Man, and it seems like NFL London is just expanding more and more year after year. A couple years ago, they just had 1 game. Now they're doing 2 games in London, back-to-back weekends. And then this just past weekend, we had the Miami Dolphins versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I'm telling you, I knew you were going to bring it up, producer Ben, and I absolutely love it. You got George Russell and Alex Albon at the game sporting the Miami Dolphins jerseys with their numbers on it. Current F1 drivers, obviously, for 2022 for Mercedes and for Williams. But I'm telling you, these London games, they draw the big names like you're seeing there. And in London, I think this is a hot ticket right now. I think the NFL is a growing market in Europe, and it's something that we're going to talk about more on this show, especially when the shot caller, Pat Flaherty, comes back. We're going to talk about more about how the NFL is growing its market in Europe and, whether or not they should even bring back NFL Europe at this point because they keep expanding more and more games over to overseas, 2 in London this year, and they're thinking about adding another one in Germany next year. So it's definitely questions that we've got. And, I think the people that have the most questions are these players in the NFL because they keep thinking, hey, we're giving up a home game, some of us, and we've got to travel overseas. And I'm telling you, that's a long flight for an NFL player, and then having to get off the plane, get adjusted to the time change, and then get on the field and play. But I'll tell you what, it was an exciting game that the Miami Dolphins and the Jacksonville Jaguars put out there for the fans in London, with the Jacksonville Jaguars pulling off their first win of the year, their first win in the Urban Meyer era too. And so that is huge, especially for Urban Meyer after all the distractions he's had most recently in his program at Jacksonville. So I know that is one happy guy, one happy coach to get off the snide and get the win there. And I think Trevor Lawrence as well. That's a guy that is, not used to losing at all, not used to losing in high school or college. And then to have, his NFL career start with a bunch of losses. Cheers to Trevor Lawrence for playing a great game in London and driving his team to get that first win. And I think the Jacksonville Jaguars did look pretty good. Miami Dolphins kind of struggled through that game. And rumor has it that we might be seeing the Miami Dolphins trade for Deshaun Watson this week. So that could be breaking news anytime at this point now. And I don't blame them. I do think their offense is struggling a little bit right now. The team, I believe, is 1-5. They just lost to arguably one of the worst teams in the NFL, the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I don't know, man. It's a struggle time for Miami, but I'm telling you what, here in New England, we are not going to cry tears for them. We're going to enjoy it at this point. We've got our own struggles with our own rookie quarterback to deal with right now at this point. So I don't know. We'll deal with that going forward. But I'm telling you what, these London games are really a great product that the NFL has been putting out to this European fan group. And I think it's going to continue to grow. And like I said, we've really got to bring up the discussion of should NFL Europe come back at this point so you can kind of keep the NFL teams at home and still have a growing NFL football market in Europe to be able to grow fan base and grow money, because we all know that's what the NFL is doing here, is trying to grow their fan base to grow their pockets. But let's move on to topic number 5 tonight. Lamar Jackson, man, he just keeps getting more impressive every week, in my opinion. And we were talking about him on this show last week. And some of you fans, I don't blame you, took a couple of shots at what the shot caller had to say about Lamar Jackson and questioning a few of his capabilities, and especially questioning, could he get hurt if he tried running the ball a lot? But I do think that was a fair question. You have to protect this guy, because right now he is the MVP right now. He is the MVP of the league. He's the MVP of your team. The Baltimore Ravens right now are 5-1, just coming off a very impressive victory, looking good. And Lamar is just getting better week after week after week. But the big news this week for Lamar Jackson is that he made NFL history, becoming the youngest and quickest quarterback to reach 35 career wins in the NFL. And I'm telling you, that's big news when you're talking about beating out the likes of like a Drew Brees, a Tom Brady, a Peyton Manning. I mean, that is big deal right now. And Lamar Jackson is really proven to everybody that has questions about his game. Can he do it? Boy, can he do it. And like I said, in my opinion right now, we are looking at the most valuable player of the league, and he won it in 2019. And he's looking like he is going to set up to win it again here in 2021, with his numbers just going through the roof, not only passing the ball, but obviously running the ball. And I've said it on this show in the past, just this past week, that I think he right now is the best dual threat quarterback in the NFL. And I'm telling you, when you've got some other guys out there like Russell Wilson and Patrick Mahomes, to be able to say he's better than both those guys right now, those are also Super Bowl winners. I think this is a big deal, obviously, for the Baltimore Ravens and for Lamar Jackson. He is just really coming out of his shell more and more every game at this point, and proving that he is one of the best players in the NFL and one of the best quarterbacks. I just had a tweet just the other day that said, hey, not bad for a running back. And, Lamar has said that quite often himself, because NFL scouts really thought that this guy should be changing his position coming out of college, should be either being a running back or a wide receiver. And obviously that just fueled his fire, and he wanted to come out and prove everybody wrong. And boy, I love that silence the doubters moment. And he has done that every play in the NFL, proving that he is a quarterback and proving that he is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL right now. And this history making this week just honestly proves that and backs it up even more, in my opinion. But let's move on. Let's move on to topic number 6. So the train rolls on. And like I said, hey, we are rolling on fast tonight. We are already in topic number 6. We are wasting no time here on Comeback Sports. But if you're new to the show, give us a subscribe, give us a like. Obviously, this is normally a 2-man show, but the shot caller, Pat Flaherty, is at the ALCS championship game between the Red Sox and the Houston Astros right now. Here's some video from him directly tweeted out from him himself on his Twitter account. So, hey, give him a follow, Pat at Pat's Flats there, or you can give me a follow at Coach B Perry 21 on Twitter. But yeah, he also said he was done tweeting it out. Obviously, the Red Sox are getting routed at this point. But next week, we will be looking to have Pat Flaherty back in his seat as co-host here, driving the show. But hey, tonight's the Coach's Special, and we're talking a ton of football, a ton of F1, So let's keep diving into it more. And this is a topic I'll tell you that I love tonight. Topic number 6, Aaron Rodgers with "I own you." And that's what he said to the Bears fans after he had himself a beautiful rushing touchdown to put himself in the end zone and take control of the game the other night, or I should say the other day, against the Chicago Bears. And I'm telling you what, since week 1, Aaron Rodgers has gotten better and better and better. That's another guy that you have to put in the conversation for MVP this year because he is looking amazing right now. But at Soldier Field the other day, after he scored that touchdown, he looks up into the fans and says, "I own you. I've owned you my whole life. I'll continue to own you." And he's talking directly to the Bears fans there. And it's no lie. If you look back at it and look at the stats, he routinely has beat the Chicago Bears. They haven't really been able to actually test him at all in his career. And once again, he's just proving it here again on Sunday that he owns the Chicago Bears and owns Soldier Field. And it was funny. Tom Brady even had a comment about it, being like, I guess Aaron Rodgers is now part owner of Soldier Field and the Chicago Bears. He just said it the other day. And it's true. Honestly, it's really true. If you look back at it, and if we got any Chicago Bears fans, I think you'd be hard-pressed to argue that Aaron Rodgers hasn't owned your team throughout his career and just dominated the Chicago Bears, and he did it again on Sunday. But I'll tell you what, right from the words of Ace Rodgers himself, he said that after he scored that touchdown, when he looked up into the stands, there was a lady giving him the double bird. And if you look back at it, other people have tweeted out a picture of that from the stands. There was multiple people giving Aaron Rodgers the double bird, and I'm sure they were yelling expletives. And he said that's kind of what fueled his answer to them, with him saying, "I own you, and I've owned you my whole career, and I still own you." And so I completely get it. I love it. I think he's one of obviously the best quarterbacks in the NFL, one of the best quarterbacks of all time. And he's proven that against the Chicago Bears. He's proven that against the NFL and every other opponent in the NFL. And so I love this. I love the confidence that Aaron Rodgers carries, the swagger that he carries, the leadership attributes that Aaron Rodgers has. Like I said, you can't beat this. And this is also some top-tier entertainment, in my opinion, as well, when you're absolutely trolling the fans there live after they throw you the double bird. So I love this move from Aaron Rodgers. I think it's absolute world class. And like I said, I don't think anybody can argue with the fact that he has owned the Chicago Bears throughout his career. So, hey, cheers to you, Aaron Rodgers, and cheers to the Green Bay Packers having a great season right now. But let's move on tonight to topic number 7. Topic number 7 is, boy, is this a fun one right now. If you're an F1 fan here, hey, new to the show, give us a subscribe, give us a like. We're talking about McLaren and Danny Rick and Zak Brown. So obviously, if you're an F1 fan, you know that after Danny Rick won his maiden win for McLaren at Monza earlier this year, you know, there was a bet that had been made previous to that with Zak Brown that said if he got a win, that he'd be able to drive one of Zak Brown's old NASCARs. And if anybody knows Zak Brown, if this guy has one of the best car collections in the world, especially of old motorsports cars, and he's got an old Dale Earnhardt Classic, a 1984. That's the year I was born, man. So this car is 37 years old, had been driven by the late, great Dale Earnhardt himself, the Intimidator. And now Danny Rick, the Honey Badger, is going to get to sport it around the Circuit of the Americas this week at the United States Grand Prix as his reward from Zak Brown for winning for McLaren. So, I mean, this is absolutely amazing. I can't wait to watch it. I'm sure, you know, ESPN and Sky Sports are going to be televising it probably as a, you know, a special before the race. I'm hoping that we all get to see it because I am, you know, first off, super excited for the United States Grand Prix to be back after missing it out since 2019 and having it back at the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. But I'm also super excited to see Danny Rick driving this 1984 NASCAR around the circuit of the Americas. And obviously, we've talked about Danny Rick plenty of times on this show. He's one of my favorite drivers, one of the most personable drivers in F1. And I even said it the other day, it's hard-pressed to find anybody in the world of F1 that can say anything bad about Daniel Ricciardo. He's always got a smile on his face. He's always nice to everybody. He's always super entertaining, loves his fans, has been great at McLaren. Some people are saying that he didn't have a great season. I think he's been doing a great job learning that new car, obviously getting the maiden win for McLaren at Monza. And then he's had some other great races as well alongside Lando Norris. So I just think Danny Rick is an amazing driver. Like I said, hard pressed for me to say anything bad about Daniel Ricciardo, the Honey Badger. Love seeing what he puts on social media too. Great guy to follow if you're looking to follow an F1 driver. But I really can't wait to see what he says after he drives this NASCAR and the low grip that this NASCAR and the low downforce that this NASCAR is going to have compared to his current Formula One car. He is going to be in for a shock, man, when he rips that thing around COTA. But I'm really excited to see it, like most F1 fans. And I'll tell you what, if you guys don't do a special over at Sky Sports and put that on before the race, I'm going to be very disappointed, and I'm sure a lot of other F1 fans are going to be disappointed as well. But I'll tell you what, McLaren will definitely be tweeting that out, so give them a follow on Twitter and also give us a follow on Twitter as well. But, hey, Danny Rick, looking forward to seeing you race the Intimidator's car around the circuit of the Americas. And let's move on to topic number 8. Red Bull claiming bull. That's what topic number 8 is tonight. And I really do think this is BS and bull shizer from Red Bull, because they're claiming that Mercedes is taking advantage of gray areas in the rules, especially when it comes to their current power unit. So Christian Horner and Red Bull over the last few weeks have been questioning all of the power gains that Mercedes have been making with their power unit and pushing their cars forward on the grid. I'll tell you what, I think this is just BS from Red Bull, more BS from Christian Horner. And I love Christian Horner. I think he's entertaining. I love Red Bull. I love all the teams in Formula One. But I do think at some point that all the teams are always just looking to blame the other to get a leg up in the race instead of just flat out racing each other and just winning the race on your own merit. And it's just really one of those things where I really feel like Red Bull is trying to generate a penalty for Lewis Hamilton, especially when it comes down the stretch here in the championship. To me, that's just foul. I'm calling foul on it right now. Let's just finish out this championship fair and square between Max and Lewis, and let the two best drivers on the grid right now battle it out for the world title. Let's not bring any BS penalties. And I really do think that's what Christian Horner and Red Bull are trying to do right now, is get a BS penalty on Mercedes, maybe even going into the United States Grand Prix, a track that is favored for Mercedes to win at. So, yeah, I've really got to call BS here and call a BS claim on Red Bull. And I'll tell you what, if Mercedes is taking advantage of quote-unquote gray areas in the rules, well, guess what? That's exactly gray areas. Gray areas mean it's technically not illegal. All right, so you can't blame Mercedes world-class engineers for coming up for something that is, technically within the rules and within the regulations. Unless you're telling me it is completely illegal, I don't really want to hear about it. Because I'll tell you what else Mercedes has come up with. In just 2020, they had the DAS system on their car, which we're all familiar with, which was a system that they used to generate tire temperature and to control their tire temperatures, which played out huge in the 2021 championship and played out huge in, directing their car as one of the best cars on the grid that year and being a championship car. So Mercedes does it year after year where they push the envelope of development. And I'm sorry, Red Bull, if they outdevelop you, that's on you. Get back in the lab and get to developing something that maybe they're not looking at as well. Push the regulations. We all know in F1, not only is it a push of the drivers, but it's a push of technology and a push against those regulations and those rules every single year. All right. So that's why there's penalties. All right. That's why there's different rules. And the competition committee looks back and possibly changes the rules going forward. And I'll tell you what, I'll mention the DAS system once again, where Red Bull once again wanted the FIA to look at the DAS system in 2020 on the Mercedes car. And that's exactly what they did. And they came back and said, guess what? It's completely legal, completely within the regulations this year. But next year, it will be illegal in 2021. Guess what? In 2021, Mercedes removed DAS from their car, and they still have an amazing car. So it's just really one of those things where if they can outdevelop you, then that's on you, Red Bull. You've got to pick up your game. We all know everybody is developing their cars for 2020, but there's still some people looking to develop their cars for 2021 here, and it's these main two title contenders in Mercedes and Red Bull. So this is a story that, hey, we might have to cover a little bit more going forward, but let's move on to topic number 9 tonight. And we're talking about the Alfa Romeo seat, topic number 9. We're sticking in Formula One here. Like I said, if you're new to the show here, give us a subscribe, give us a like. This is the Coach's Special, a short and sweet comeback sports special where we're still covering 10 topics. But give us a like here, give us a follow, or give us a comment, or hey, give us a call and leave a voicemail if you want us to talk about a different topic, maybe on next week's show when the shot caller, Pat Flaherty, returns to our lineup. But let's talk about Alfa Romeo's lineup in 2022 and who they're looking to slot alongside Valtteri Bottas in their car. And I'll tell you what, there's a lot of rumors flying around Formula One right now, and you could say that silly season is still continuing on when it goes for Alfa Romeo. But the two names that keep coming up and keep rising to the top here in this conversation that might get slotted alongside Valtteri Bottas is Guangzhou, the Chinese driver, and then also Nick de Vries. Obviously, you know, the Formula E champion that is potentially looking to make his way to Formula One. So it's just really one of those things where, you know, I think Alfa Romeo has a really tough decision if you have just those two drivers as your final two choices. And rumor has it that, you know, Guangzhou is the real leader for getting that seat, but that he wants to lock himself into a 3-year deal with Alfa Romeo, and Alfa Romeo doesn't feel comfortable doing that. Frederick Vasseur is really right now just looking to find a replacement driver for 1 year. And, you know, I'm hearing that they want to bring up Porsche, and that Porsche is their number one target to bring into their car for 2023. So if they lock in Guangzhou to a 3-year deal, it will be a lot harder to bring Porsche in 2023. So alongside Valtteri Bottas, and potentially also a Mercedes engine coming in this Alfa Romeo car, which is definitely something we have to continue to look at going forward if that becomes true. And I don't know, if that becomes true, I think you have a strong argument to say Nick de Vries might belong in that seat, a Mercedes junior driver alongside Valtteri Bottas, who we all know can get the best out of a Mercedes engine car. So it's just really one of those things where, man, if I'm Frederick Vasseur, I've got a lot of tough decisions to make here over these next few weeks to decide, is it going to be Guangzhou or am I going to look to bring in Nick de Vries? And like I said, that's a real tough decision. But I would be, you know, I'd be hurting myself if I didn't mention another guy that I personally thought should have been in that seat this year, and that's Callum Ilott. I really do believe that Callum Ilott did enough in Formula 2, battling the likes of Mick Schumacher and having himself a great season, almost winning that Formula 2 title. And, you know, I know, obviously, Callum Ilott just signed to race in IndyCar, but I think if he had been given the chance to race in Formula 1 in 2021, that Callum Ilott would have been a great pairing with Kimi Räikkönen. And then Callum Ilott would have been a great pairing with Valtteri Bottas going forward. But I know a lot of people will have, you know, their personal opinion on that, and I totally get it. But I also think that you could arguably have a great stance in saying that Guangzhou or Nick de Vries both belong in that car as well. So it's just really one of those things where it's a topic that we will definitely have to be looking at. And once they decide, we will be covering it going forward. Let's move on to our final topic of the night, topic 10. Topic 10, our final topic of the night, the NBA is back. The NBA is back for its 75th season, and it is back big time. Obviously, I don't know if anybody got to catch the game last night between the Golden State Warriors and the Los Angeles Lakers. Golden State Warriors winning a game 121-114 over the Los Angeles Lakers. I think that was a great game to basically start off the night and start off the 75th year of the NBA, and having the NBA come back with a bang, having LeBron James and go after Steph Curry. But Steph Curry had a big night, triple-double, 21 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists to lead the Golden State Warriors over the Los Angeles Lakers on opening night. And then we got tonight, the Boston Celtics, have their first opening game at home in TD Garden. I think last I had looked, they were down, but that was early in the game, so we'll have to see. But it's great to have the NBA back, man. An exciting time here in sports when we're talking about NFL games, the NBA coming back, the NHL. We've still got F1, and we're in, the playoffs for Major League Baseball. So this is a real exciting time if you're a sports fan, but especially if you're an NBA fan with this big year of the 75th year. And like I said, I think they've come back with a bang. And if anybody has checked out that commercial with Michael B. Jordan, boy, absolute world-class piece of advertising there from the NBA. Absolute great commercial with a ton of superstars in there over these last 75 years. And like I said, check out that commercial. Producer Ben, if you can pull that up, I don't know if we'll get a strike on that from the NBA. But absolute great commercial there with Michael B. Jordan riding the NBA bus, the NBA 75-year bus, and picking up people along the way. But yeah, big time for the NBA to come back, and we're looking at some big years here. And I don't know. I think if I've got to make a prediction here, I think the Los Angeles Lakers, even though they lost on opening night, LeBron James in his 19th year in the NBA is looking amazing still. I've still got to think that they're a favorite in the West. And I still think in the East here, even with Kyrie Irving being out potentially for the whole year, I do got to think that the Brooklyn Nets are going to be a huge favorite in the East, led by obviously Kevin Durant and James Harden. A lot of people picking Kevin Durant as the preseason MVP. And I've got to agree with him, honestly. I honestly think if Kyrie Irving stays out, that this just improves Kevin Durant's chances at winning the MVP, because the ball's going to be in his hands right now. And I'm telling you what, after the show that Kevin Durant put on in Tokyo for Team USA, he was clutch. In any clutch moment, Kevin Durant just showed up big and was hitting bucket after bucket. I think he's going to carry that momentum and that confidence into the NBA season. And I do think he is the favorite to win the MVP. But I do think you got to watch out for obviously his teammate, James Harden. You got to watch out for Steph Curry, LeBron James, and also a guy that we cover a lot on this show, Luka Doncic of the Dallas Mavericks. I think he's also going to make a run at his first MVP. But yeah, great, like I said, great commercial here from the NBA promoting their 75 years, in existence, with some great superstars of the current and past in this commercial. This is my favorite part here with Gary Payton, the glove. Everybody knows him as the shutdown, lockdown defender. Well, guess what? He's not letting this bus go by him. So I just thought that was a great play by the NBA. Great piece of marketing here. Great piece of commercial, ingenuity. But yeah, hey, this is it. That's it for tonight. 10 topics, comeback sports. Check us out Wednesdays at 8 p.m. U.S. Eastern. Sorry the shot caller wasn't here tonight, but yeah, we're getting some live footage that he tweeted out earlier. He's at the ALCS championship game where the Red Sox are absolutely getting hammered right now. Hammered by the Houston Astros, unfortunately. So I'm sure Pat's going to have a lot to say about that on next week's show. But hey, if you're new to this show, give us a subscribe here and give us a like. And also, make sure you hit that bell so all that content can come right to your homepage all the comeback sports topics that we do weekly and all the cut-ups that producer Ben does a great job of doing weekly for us, we'll go right to your feed. But let's check out the comments tonight. Pull those back up, producer Ben, please. Let's check out the comments tonight. Ruseman Reese, appreciate you as always tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed the coach's special, short but sweet tonight. So let's check out a couple comments here. Honestly, Red Bull invested too much to win this year that they're afraid that Mercedes may have an upgrade that took half a second away. I honestly think you're right on that one, Ruseman Reese. I do believe that Red Bull have invested so much in trying to win this championship that they're willing to pull out all the stops, including trying to complain and, drub up a penalty. Because like I said, if that's a gray area and it's not technically illegal, then cheers for Mercedes for coming up with another gray area like the DAS system in 2020. And then how do you rate Mac so far? I'm not sure which Mac he's talking about. So I don't know. You'll have to just shout out a comment there. Oh, he's talking about Mac Jones. Oh, okay. Thank you, producer Ben, queuing up in my ear to talk about Mac Jones. I rate Mac Jones right now, to be honest, and I think you guys are going to be shocked by this because if you tuned back weeks ago, I was, during the draft complaining about how we didn't go after one of the star wide receivers and drafted Mac Jones. But I do believe that Mac Jones has proven his worth so far as a number one pick. I think he's been doing a great job in leading this team. Yep, QB, I got you, Ruseman. Thanks to producer Ben tuning me in. I think Mac Jones has been doing a great job, honestly. And I think he's been doing a great job in some tough circumstances. I mean, they played a couple of great teams, namely the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I think he did a great job in that game. And I think just the other day, I think he did a great job against the Dallas Cowboys, who were looking like one of the best teams in the NFL. So I think if anybody's got any complaints about the New England Patriots, I really don't think it can be about Mac Jones at this point. I think he's doing everything he can right now as a rookie quarterback, and I think he's developing still weekly. Week to week, he's getting better and better, and I've been impressed with Mac Jones right now so far through this early season. But that's going to do it tonight for us on Comeback Sports. We appreciate all our viewers here. Make sure you tune back in next week when Pat, the shot caller Flaherty, will be back from the Red Sox game. And I'm sure he'll have, like I said, plenty of complaints like I will about how they've played. But hopefully by next week, we will have a grip on that series. But we will have to see. But tune in next week for Comeback Sports. And we appreciate everybody for tuning in. Thank you very much and have a great night.